So Super Awesome's mission is to build a safer internet for the next generation. So within Epic, we kind of have two functions. First, we power a lot of the identity verification within a lot of the Epic games and ecosystem. What's more relevant to this conference is we also help brands connect safely and responsibly with Gen Alpha and Gen Z all over, wherever they are, across a super fragmented and really regulated industry, including within gaming environments.
Your colleague spoke about how it's not always about advertising in the game, but all the different venues around there. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so I think that's the thing a lot of brands who were really eager to get in the quote unquote metaverse or gaming space didn't understand at first, which is they thought, well, to do this, you just need to build a thing in a game. The reality is there's this enormous ecosystem around games, as you probably know, which is people playing the games, but also people watching content about the games, influencers, YouTube videos, etc. So when we work with a brand, it's really critical that we help them understand that, and you sort of build an integrated activation both in the game and then around the game.
Two of the biggest properties you work with are Fortnite and Roblox. Many brands probably want to get in there and don't know where to start. What kind of advice do you give them? How do you help them through that process?
Yeah, so typically we'll start with the audience, right? So Fortnite is an older audience. Roblox, while it's aging up, is a younger audience. Somewhere around 50% kids, 50% not kids on Roblox. So typically we'll start with try to understand who's the audience they're going for. Then that'll narrow down what space they want to be in. And then, as Nick discussed on stage, there's a few approaches. One of which is you could build a whole island or a map or an experience from scratch, but you really need to be prepared to maintain it like you would a live ops game over time. That's hard for some brands. Or you could say, I'm just going to put my brand into a place that already exists. For example, building a Gap installation within Club Roblox, within Roblox. And that's a path that a lot of brands find a lot easier.
There are a lot of brands probably coming to you and saying, I don't know if I should do anything in the metaverse. What does it mean for me right now? What's your advice to them?
It takes a little bit of discovery to figure out what they mean, right? So there's a lot of different ways into it. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the game itself. So some brands will work with Epic to use our game technology called Unreal Engine to make TV commercials using synthetic humans and 3D products, and that may or may not ever end up in a game. So that's one path that some brands think of when they think of metaverse. And then a lot of brands do think of, okay, how do I tap into these really huge audiences that exist in platforms like a Fortnite or like a Roblox that exhibit a lot of these metaverse characteristics. Millions of people, simultaneous usage, highly social, functioning economy, 3D worlds, etc.
There's always awareness with when talking about targeting kids in digital media. What are some things that you guys know that maybe brands can help them feel more comfortable?
So it's a highly regulated space, right? When you think of whether it's Gen Alpha or Gen Z. So one of the core things that we do at Super Awesome is we have enormous teams that understand the legislation and build technology on top of the ads to make sure that whatever is delivered is done so compliantly and safely, et cetera. So oftentimes one of the reasons why brands work with us is if they're activating on a platform like Roblox and they're doing media around that may be exposed to younger audiences, we counsel them on how does the ad delivery have to look, what technology do you have to use, what can and can't influencers say, how do you disclose that this thing is an ad on Roblox or not. So it's actually pretty complicated, and that's why a lot of brands need a specialist for it.
Overall, there's a lot of enthusiasm for game advertising. The dollars are moving slower than maybe people thought. What's holding things up?
We think about this a lot. I think there's probably two paths. There's the really functional path, which is for dollars to flow into it. A lot of buyers want to be able to transact on it like they do, programmatic. They want to measure it the way they do, et cetera. So I think a lot of those ad technological solutions are coming into play, which I think will facilitate a lot of this investment. And then there's just how the heck do I do this in a way that's not going to frustrate or piss off players, which is an enormous thing, which is more of a creative question. And that's where a lot of our sort of game studio, our Super Awesome gaming team has to educate clients to say, you may want to do this thing, but that's not innately how the game works. And so we sort of counsel them into a path that will be not disruptive and hopefully additive to the gameplay. So it's a mix of a creative challenge and also an ad tech challenge. And if we solve those two, I think it'll start to bridge that divide between time spent and investment.